Alright, today we are looking at a platinum game. AHL versus Captain Geach 332. We're going to be taking a look at AHL. He requested that I take a look at his replay, give him some pointers on how it can improve. So we're going to take a look at his Delhi gameplay today. And yeah, we're just going to see what he could have done better in this game. He did actually win this one, spoilers. But we're going to see how we can, improve the small details, or it might even be big macro things that need improving. So he's opted to go for the double scout, going mill 2 onward. Looks like he's going to go for a delayed mosque build here. To be honest, I'm not up to date with the most efficient Delhi builds right now, but this is fine. This is one variation, it's fine. It just means you're not going to have piety by the time you're age 2. Probably going to have to put it on hold so that you can get sanctity. But, I mean, first things first, he's queued up his text, which is good. What elo is this? This is plat 1. Plat 1. Alright, we're going to speed through a little bit on the beginning here. The matchup is Delhi versus French, which can be a bit tricky if the French player uses his knights well. There's a fine balance between keeping your base safe from knight raids and also going out and getting the sacred sites. So we'll kind of see how AHL opts to approach this one. But typically against French, you want to be opening Spear Horseman, just because that's going to be your best bet against Archer Knight. Going Spear Archer against Archer Knight feels really bad. It's really hard to, win any fights with that. It's too easy for the opponent's archers to pick off your spears, and then knights just come and clean up your archers. So we'll see if that's what he opts to do here. They're bringing back his sheep now. Obviously, it's Delhi, you don't need to be in a rush to bring back your sheep. So he's got the whole map explored, which is good. Let's see if he goes to utilize these scouts early on. One thing that really pisses French players off is harassing their gold mine with your scouts. It's a really good way to, especially in like platinum-ish elo, it's a really good way to kind of throw off the way that, the macro of your opponent. They'll tend to not be allocating villages to correct resources because they're constantly dealing with microing their scouts and whatnot. So opting to go for efficient production first, which is good. Okay. Good use of scouts here as well. So one thing I recommend if you are up against a French player, as any civ, you basically want to keep a scout on top of their school of cavalry so that you can follow their first knight into your base. Like if your opponent is going for early knight aggression, which is like 90% of the time they are, then you can follow that knight and know exactly where they're going to hit your eco. Your spears can then be in position so that you don't get caught off guard and get a free few villager kills. Alright, so he's aged up now. He's going with the Tower of Victory. I'm not convinced. I think Tower of Victory is still a meme. But we'll see. Especially up against French. Tower of Victory, it feels like it kind of forces you into archers, because otherwise you're not getting the maximum benefits from it. Because your cavalry don't get the attack speed buff. Okay, let's see. You got your text queued up. Sanctity only just starting now, a little bit delayed there, but everything else looks like he's got in queue. Starting to pump out some spears. One thing that I don't like about the Tower of Victory as well is you can't maximize the use of like efficient production. Like right now he's just using one barracks without a scholar in it. But then again, I haven't explored Tower of Victory enough to really say what's right and wrong in this, but it just feels wrong. Also gonna need this upgrade sooner rather than later. Otherwise these knights are just gonna destroy your spears. Another thing I'd recommend as well, is that this was fine, because you have no resources nearby. If there's knights like circling around your base, you don't want to move too far out with your spears, because then the knights can just run around the spears and then go hit your villages. And your spears will be out of position because they'll be behind the knights trying to catch up to them. So you got 3 on gold. I'm guessing this is for scholar production, which hasn't started yet. Also, like, one thing as well, like, scouts at home is good to keep line of sight on what's going on, but you need a scout on his side as well. I think you're going to send one now, because right now you only have a barracks, and if he sent like 3 archers across, you're completely fucked. Like, they'll push you off wood, push you off food, push you off gold, because you don't have an answer to the archers right now. This is a nice spot, but you need to have more vision on what exactly he is making at his side. So now producing scholars, expensive scholars. Going into double blacksmith. I don't like this double blacksmith play without knowing what he's doing. Okay, now you see archers. See what you're up to do here. Textile's definitely worth as well. Against French in particular. Okay, walling up the spears. This is a really slow response to seeing that he has archers. Like, you should be scrambling to get a stable down as soon as possible. You already have the wood for it. So you need an answer to those archers. It looks like he's going for a second TC though, which is interesting. Very risky against the French. See what the French is up to. No 2TC from the French. This is the information that you need as well. Like, I feel like this is nearly a death sentence. Like, not knowing what he's doing. Like, these days, French meta, you can kind of expect a lot of the time that they will be going 2TC. But in this case, he's staying on single TC, and you only have spears. Only now the stable's coming down. And this is what I mean by, like, using the Tower of Victory over the Dome of Faith. Like, right now, the only value you're getting from this Tower of Victory is some attack speed on your spears. But, like, how beneficial is that? How beneficial is that really? Instead, you could have saved, like, a ton of gold on scholars. You wouldn't have had to build this second mosque so early. Get your techs faster. You can heal in combat with more scholars. So against French, I don't think Tower of Victory is a viable option, in my opinion. Or at least it's very suboptimal. So he's building his second TC out here, which is fine. You know, his whole army's on this side. But I'm expecting rams pretty soon from the French player. Speed this up a little bit. So I'd say, like, the biggest thing that you could improve in this game so far is just being more active with the scouting. It seems to me like you had a plan in mind, or I don't know if you've been doing this strategy over and over, but it seems like you're kind of just defaulting to this Tower of Victory strategy going into 2TC without, like, using the information that you have in any given game to dictate your decisions. Like obviously it is going to work out in the end, and honestly, like, right now it seems like I have no idea how you're going to pull it out, but yeah, like, if you see archers, single TC French, going Tower of Victory, well, against French in general is a no-go, and then going 2TC off the back of that is, like, extremely risky. I would not recommend. Pop capped at the moment. Replacing his barracks now. Gonna engage this. This is not a fight you can win unless French just suicides all his knights. Yeah, this is rough. She is rough. So you have one sacred site, which is good. But the thing, like, French could just send one knight over there and deny that completely. It'd be worth to wall this side for sure. You have 600 wood, you could definitely wall that. Oh, bad fight by French. Oh no. Oh. Yeah. I'd say, up until this point, you're in a very, like, you're in a big losing position. The only way you could have won this game was if French did exactly what he did, which was run all of his knights into your spears and lose them all, and then your horsemen kill his archers for free. Otherwise, I'd say this position, based on the first few points that I made, the scouting and the decision making with your landmark and also the second TC, I think could be changed for the better for sure. So now, all of a sudden, you're not in a bad position. Let's see what the Vil count is. Okay. I don't know how many Vils you lost to raids, but I'm assuming you've had quite a lot of idle time on this TC. Yeah, is this TC producing? It's not, right? Yeah, this TC is not producing. If you do, or, well, as a recommendation, I would always hotkey your town centers to one hotkey. Because right now you have 3 villages queued up in this town center and none in this one. If you had these hotkeyed together, it would distribute this across both the 2 TCs in the most efficient manner. So get in the habit of hotkeying your TCs. Or if there's like a select all TC button, use that, whatever, if that's available, I'm not even really sure. But yeah. Because like the Vil difference shouldn't be this big. Like you're on 2 TC, you're at 46 and he's on 48. Like he's still ahead of you. I mean, eventually you can outscale him, but yeah, it's slower than it needs to be. Okay, so now from your position, I'd look at capturing all the sacred sites. Looks like you've captured the middle one, but I'd definitely go out to the edge as well. It's also worth walling these off. Like, let's see how much wood you got in the bank. Like, you have 800 wood in the bank. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't, like, completely wall this side, completely wall the middle, and completely wall the top. Another free pickup for you, nice. Bit of idle time. But I'm sure you're aware of that being something you can improve in your gameplay, is just fixing your idle villages. The rule I typically have with idle villages, or at least that I try to follow, is basically, if you're not in a major fight where it's really close, like if you're fighting with your opponent and it's really close, don't bother fixing your idle vills straight away. I would just focus on that fight until you're either retreating or you know that you're in a good position in that fight to win without any micro. Then fix your macro. So fix your idle villages, your villager distribution as well. That's typically a rule that I suggest you follow when it comes to, you know, paying attention to your idle villages and your macro. So let's see what information you have right now. So in this position, I would scout, see what he has, and you have 2 options, right? You can either double down on feudal pressure, or you can go up to the castle age. And using the information with your scouts over here to see the army size that he has can help dictate that question. But a nice little pickup here, but I'd imagine your whole or some of your army's going to get cleaned up here. But yeah, good job in identifying that he's probably moved out to certain food sources on the map. He's obviously not on this deer pack, so he's probably down on this berries. Okay, what are you aging up with? Compounded Defender, it's fine. I think this comes down to personal preference. I prefer the Compounded Defender in most situations. Just because I think, like, by the time you get your honed blades in, like, you're probably not going to be in, like, a predominantly, like, knight or men-at-arm composition. So I like Compounded Defender. Just allows you to get more map control with more keeps. All around the map, and also you can obviously build stone walls with the units. Another thing as well, like if you're aging and you have no information on like the army size of your opponent, you should be walling up. Like you should have walled up earlier, but like especially if you're aging, that like leaves you pretty vulnerable to like a big push from your opponent, assuming that they've invested all their resources into army. Like if I was the French player, I'd be attacking right now. But he's just chilling. Because one thing as well to note about Delhi is like your upgrades in Castle Age are going to take quite a while. So if your opponent used that opportunity to like come and attack you as soon as you age, you're still going to have feudal units, but you're going to be down like 1800 resources, right? Because you've aged up and they haven't. Okay, let's see what army composition you decide to go here. Going knights, which is good. I agree with that. Wait, you have no production. You only have 2 production buildings when you should be spending all of your wood on production right now. So another thing to think about when you're Delhi, obviously, is as soon as you age up, you need to just go straight to all the relics. At least go straight to all your safe relics. You know he has a big army, so just go get this one, which you're doing now, and collect this one as well. And you could probably sneak a skull around here and get this as well. Okay, now you're dropping more military. A thing you should be thinking about whenever you're aging the castle is spending all of your wood on military production. Like that wood is not going to be used for anything else unless like, you know, you completely ran out of natural resources at that exact moment and you needed to transition to farms. But you should have a lot more military production. Like right now you're fighting with feudal units. You have what? Like 5k res in the bank. And only now you're building your 3rd and 4th. Your third military production building now. You've always had the wood for it, so it's just something that needs to like click. As soon as you start aging, you need to go, okay, how many military production buildings do I have? How many more do I need? And then just like spam down a bunch of military production. Like this situation right now could be almost completely mitigated if you had like a ton more production building, which you did have enough. Yeah, this is a big throw on your behalf. Like you should never be fighting with that army. You should wait until you have your castle units out. And potentially even wait for upgrades, but probably not. The upgrades just take too long. So you need to just pump out as many castle units as you possibly can. I'm so surprised the French has not taken any of these sacred sites. Like, it's crazy to me. This is not good. You have textiles now. And now the desperation comes in. This is what you should have done, like, in transition. So just to, like, recap, like, if you're going up the castle age, there's a few things you need to do, right? If the map is suited to it, you need to wall off. Because, especially against French, if they've invested all their resources into army, there's a big window for them to really come and punish you. And the walls just gives you that little bit of extra time to prepare for it and get in position. The next thing is you want to be thinking about dropping as many production buildings as you can, so that you can pump out as many castle units as you can as soon as you age. Because if they're in your base and you only have 3 production buildings, you're not going to be able to get out the mass to deal with these French knights in age 3. Obviously as Delhi, you're going to have to wait a long time for upgrades, so that's not really an option if they're pressuring you at that time. So just get as many production buildings down as possible. And then the last thing is, like, during transition, you should have all of your scholars out on top of the relics, basically. At least on top of the safe relics. In this case, there was 2 on the sides that you could have been on top of straight away, and bring those back ASAP. You could have even gotten the one up here, like, as soon as you aged as well. Okay, so this keep saves you 47 bills, 53. So again, the 2TC lead is kind of mitigated again. You do have sacred sites and relics, so your eco is ahead. It's just that, yeah, it's in shambles right now. Okay, so you got your blacksmith upgrades, but you're forgetting your eco ones. Yeah, you should be abusing this market right now. Trading all this gold for food. Oh, this French player really wants to kill you now. Well, that's not good. This guy loves wasting his knights. I guess he just throws the game again. Yeah, this French guy is so hungry for blood. Like, if he just aged up off the back of this and then, like, you know, took his time with the push, it would have been so much better. Like, he killed so many vills, idled you. He could have taken the whole map, denied these sacred sites, and just, like, killed you more methodically. Like, he could have just kept raiding around the keep, like, where the keep isn't, and, like, kept, like, idling your whole eco, but instead he just wanted to kill you. But yeah, I think I covered, like, all the points that were relevant to this game. Oh, we just resigned. Okay. GG.